The motion sensor in corridor B triggered at 2:33 a.m., its red light burning steady in the dark. At the front desk, Brenda shot upright. On the green-tinted security monitor, something was wrong.
I checked that row during my walkthrough. Every door was locked.
On screen, Unit B, -447's roll-up door, stood ajar 6 inches. Only blackness behind it. She grabbed her flashlight and sprinted down the endless hallway, the fluorescent strips buzzing overhead. She reached B, -447, panting, and pressed her palm flat against the corrugated metal. It was sealed cold.
It hasn't moved, but the camera showed it open. That makes no sense.
Back at the desk, she replayed the time-stamped footage. The door had been open for exactly 1 minute. She pulled out an incident report form and began writing, her pen trembling on the paper.
I am the only one here, so what the hell opened that door?
The next morning, Brenda dug into the facility's archived records in the dusty back room. She found 12 units with no rent payments in over 40 years. Each file stamped "Do Not Open."
No late fees, no auction. These units just sit here like tombs.
She showed the records to the day guard. He glanced at the number and walked away silent. So she took the files straight to the owner, Mr. Halpern, her footsteps sharp on the linoleum.
Mr. Halpern, why are there 12 units that haven't paid rent in decades but haven't been auctioned?
Those are legacy leases. Nothing you need to worry about.
Legacy leases? He won't even look at me.
Some doors stay closed for a reason, Miss Cotton. Leave it.
He's warning me, but every question I asked just makes the silence heavier.
That night, the alarm on the corridor B motion sensor shrieked again at exactly 2:33 a.m.
Same minute, same sensor. This isn't a glitch.
On the grainy feed, Unit B, -447's door lifted exactly 6 inches, pausing in perfect stillness. For 60 seconds it held. Then, as if measured by a timer, it rolled smoothly down.
I checked it last night, and it was sealed, but it keeps happening.
She grabbed her flashlight and ran to the corridor, the echo of her footsteps unnaturally loud. She reached B, -447. The door was sealed cold, no gap, no sign of movement.
The camera can't lie, but this door hasn't been opened in decades.
As she stood there, the hair on her neck rose. She felt eyes on her back from the darkness.
I am logging everything, every second. Something is very wrong here.
Brenda bought a fresh logbook and began recording every alarm to the second, her handwriting sharp with tension. 3 more nights, the same pattern. 2:33 a.m., the door rose exactly 6 inches, then retracted without a trace. Each morning, Mr. Halpern arrived early and stood reading her report log, never saying a word.
He's not angry. He's not surprised. He's just waiting.
He would circle the entry about B, -447 with his pen, then close the book and leave without comment.
It's like he expects the alarms, like he knows exactly why they happen.
One morning, Brenda found a coffee stain on his desk that perfectly encircled the words B, -447 on her report.
That's not an accident. He wanted that stain right there.
She felt the weight of being watched, every movement catalogued by an owner who refused to explain.
What am I being tested for? And what happens if I fail?
Reaching for any thread of normalcy, Brenda typed out a message to a friend about the alarms and Mr. Halpern's silence. Her friend replied, "It's probably just a prank or a faulty sensor. Don't let it mess with you."
A prank? Every night, at the exact same second? No one believes me.
She checked her bank balance. Leaving meant losing the only paycheck she had, with no savings to fall back on.
I can't afford to quit, but if whatever is in that hallway decides to come out, I might not have a choice.
That night, just before 2:33 a.m., a slow dragging sound crept down the corridor, like heavy fabric over concrete.
I should check, but every instinct screams to stay right here.
The next morning, she found fresh scuff marks on the concrete outside Unit B, -447, parallel drag marks that stopped at the door.
These are fresh. Something physical made these. This isn't just a camera ghost.
She photographed the marks, logged them, and stared at the sealed door, dread coiling tight in her stomach. Determined to find answers, Brenda went to the back office after her shift and began searching through old personnel files. In a dusty banker's box, she found a thick sheaf of incident reports, all signed by a previous night attendant named Marlene Delmont. The reports described the same motion sensor alarm at 2:33 a.m. on Unit B, negative 447, night after night for over a year.
She logged the exact same thing, the same time, the same door.
The handwriting grew shakier as the pages went on, culminating in a final report dated the 14th of October, 3 years ago. After that, the reports stopped. Brenda searched further and found Marlene's personnel file in a locked drawer.
She worked here for 3 more years after the alarm stopped. What made them stop?
The file had no termination date. It just ended with a note, transferred to day shift per established protocol.
Established protocol. Like it was expected. Like it's part of some quiet deal.
Brenda closed the file, her hands cold. She wasn't the first, and Marlene had been rewarded, not punished. That night, Brenda sat at her desk, haunted by the thought that Marlene had been rewarded for enduring the same terror. At 2:30 a.m. sharp, the fluorescent strips in the corridor began to flicker wildly, casting jagged, epileptic shadows.
Not just on camera. This is happening right outside my door.
A low humming rose from the direction of B negative 447, a sound that wavered almost like a man murmuring in the dark.
That's not the building settling. That's a voice.
The temperature in the office dropped so sharply that Brenda's breath fogged in the cold air. She forced herself to stay at the desk, watching the security monitor as static began to tear across the screen. Through the distortion, she saw Unit B negative 447's door rolling up, the image warping as if the camera was being interfered with.
It's getting stronger. It's reaching into the feed itself.
Her hands trembled, the cold now seeping into her bones, and the humming did not stop until the door slowly rolled back down. Later that morning, still shaken and running on fumes, Brenda forgot to lock the front gate during her final sweep.
The gate was unlocked for 2 hours, Miss Cotton. That's a fireable mistake.
He never raises his voice. This isn't just anger. It's a warning.
But I won't write you up. Let it go. Some things are better left undisturbed.
He means B negative 447. He's telling me to forget, or else.
That night, the alarm shrieked at 2:33 a.m. On the monitor, Unit B negative 447's door stood half open, wider than ever before.
It never opened that far. It's testing me.
She grabbed her flashlight and sprinted into the corridor, the sound of her own breath loud in her ears. As she rounded the corner, a screech of metal echoed. The door slammed shut, the darkness inside vanishing from sight.
It knew I was coming. It was watching.
That night after her shift, Brenda sat in her car outside her apartment, unable to shake the feeling of being watched. She hurried inside, but in the hallway, she heard heavy boot steps creaking across her third-floor balcony.
No one should be out there. I have to sleep with the lights on and the back close.
The next day, a customer complained about a rotten smell wafting through the B corridor, stronger than any dead animal. Brenda deflected the complaint, but after closing, she walked the hall. The stench grew unbearable, right outside B negative 447. That night, she watched the security monitor with dread. The motion sensor light blinked, and the camera feed flickered. A dark shape moved across the screen. Not a trick of light, but a humanoid silhouette, pausing inches from the camera. Before she could react, the silhouette retreated, and Unit B, negative 447's door rolled up, as if in greeting.
It's not just a ghost. Something with a body is watching me. It followed me home. Whatever it is, it's not staying inside B negative 447 anymore.
Night after night, Brenda marked her logbook until she reached the 30th consecutive alarm on Unit B 447. This time, she decided not to run. She would watch the monitor until whatever was inside revealed itself. At exactly 2:33 a.m., the sensor alarm blared, and B negative 447's door rolled upward with an eerie, silent precision. But the darkness inside the unit shifted. A solid silhouette stood motionless just beyond the opening.
There's someone in there. That's who's been paying the rent.
The figure didn't move. It didn't step out. The door held open for 10 silent seconds, then rolled smoothly back down.
It never came out. It just stood there and let me see.
The unit was occupied. Not by a ghost or a glitch, but by someone who had been living inside for decades.
That's the tenant. That's Vincent Hale, and he's still inside. He never leaves. He just pays the rent every month.
The next morning, Brenda went to the county records office and sat before a humming microfilm reader, her fingers cold on the dial. She scanned old newspaper archives until a 1979 clipping surfaced. Local man missing, Vincent Hale, 52, last seen entering River Road storage. The article stated he was a hoarder who paid rent on Unit B, negative 447 in advance. Investigators found the door locked from the outside. She pulled the case file and found a photograph of Hale. Thin, haunted, the same gaunt silhouette she had seen on the monitor.
It's him. Vincent Hale has been inside that unit for 40 years.
She dug deeper and found property records. The storage facility was originally owned by George Halpern, Mr. Halpern's father.
So the Halpern family knew. They've been collecting rent from a dead man for decades.
She copied the files and left the records office, the name Vincent Hale burning in her mind like a brand.
He never left because he couldn't. The door was locked from the outside, and Mr. Halpern has been keeping the secret ever since.
Brenda stormed into Mr. Halpern's office, the manila envelope with Vincent Hale's file clutched in her hand.
I know about Vincent Hale. I know he's been in that unit for 40 years. What did your family do?
Halpern's face drained of color. He sank into his chair and slid a drawer shut with a cold click.
My father made an arrangement. Some tenants pay in other ways. The rent gets paid, and we don't ask questions.
He's not denying it. He's admitting there's a deal with something inside.
You think it's evil, but it's just a tenant. Vincent Hale never stopped paying. If you ignore him, the alarms get violent. Marlene learned that the hard way.
He tapped a finger on the desk, the rhythm heavy with finality. Once you accept the payment, you can't stop. The cycle keeps you here.
So, I am supposed to just become part of it? What do I have to accept?
You'll know. And when you see it, you'll understand. It's your choice, Miss Cotton. But walk away now, and it'll follow you.
Brenda stood frozen, the air thick with unspoken threat. She was no longer just an attendant. She was the next link in a chain she never asked to join. That night, Brenda returned to her post, Halpern's warning heavy in her mind. The choice was hers, but the cost was already circling. At 2 a.m., the motion sensor alarm screamed. Not 2:33. The pattern had broken.
33 minutes early. He's done following the script.
On the monitor, Unit B, negative 447's door rolled up almost halfway, and a wet, dragging sound scraped through the corridor. Brenda gripped the desk, knuckles white, and refused to move. She would not run this time. The door held open for 2 minutes, then slowly rolled down, leaving a thick silence. The next morning, she opened the office door and froze. A folded paper lay on the inside mat. She unfolded it. A handwritten receipt, dated today, $89, monthly rent, signed in shaky ink. V. Hale.
He paid me. Vincent Hale just paid his rent directly to me.
She stared at the receipt, understanding too late. The payment had to be accepted, or the alarms would only intensify. Brenda folded the receipt carefully and slipped it into her locker, unwilling to process it, but unable to throw it away.
If I accept it, I am part of this. If I don't, he'll just keep escalating.
That night, she watched the clock until 2:33 a.m. came and went in total silence. No alarm, no motion.
It's quiet. The first quiet night in weeks. But it feels like a bribe.
The second night passed the same way, peaceful, but heavy with expectation, as if the building held its breath. On the third night, she fell into a feverish sleep and dreamed of standing inside B negative 447, surrounded by rotting furniture. In the dream, A cold hand settled on her shoulder, and a whisper that sounded like gratitude crawled into her ear. She jolted awake in her own bed, drenched in sweat, the phantom touch still burning on her skin. The next morning, a small note lay on her desk. "Good, you are learning," in Halpern's neat handwriting.
He knows I kept it. He's been waiting for me to accept. This is the test.
The temporary peace shattered on the 39th night at 2:33 a.m. The alarm erupted like a scream, and the sensor light burned steady red. On the grainy feed, Unit B, -447's door rolled up, not 6 inches, but unhesitatingly, until the black interior swallowed the light. Then, a folded receipt slid out, crisp and deliberate, and came to rest on the concrete floor in the hallway light. But after a long, dark pause, the paper slowly crinkled and slid backward, pulled inch by inch under the door, as if something had changed its mind.
He's taking it back. He wants me to come get it from him directly.
The door remained open, a black void waiting, until Brenda's lungs burned from holding her breath. After 10 unbearable minutes, it rolled down with a final, deliberate thud. The message was impossible to ignore.
The receipt in my locker is nothing. I have to accept it from the unit itself. If I don't go tomorrow, he'll just escalate. The 40th night has to be the end, one way or another.
She stood, walked to the storage closet, and pulled out her heavy flashlight. She had one night left to make her choice.
I barely slept. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw that receipt sliding back into the dark.
She clipped the stopwatch to her belt, tested the flashlight beam against the wall, and walked into the silent corridor. The temperature dropped with every step. By the time she reached Unit B, -447, her breath plumed white in the stale air. She positioned herself 10 feet from the door. Flashlight off, stopwatch already counting up from 2:30 a.m. Above her, the motion sensor light blinked off, then flared red again, as if it couldn't decide if she was human. The stopwatch beeped past 2:32. Brenda's thumb hovered over the flashlight switch. Every instinct screamed at her to run.
2 hours, 32 minutes and 55 seconds. I am not running. I am going to see this through.
At exactly 2:33 a.m., the stopwatch hit 0, and the door of B next to 447 began to roll upward with a slow, mechanical rasp. Metal grills slid over metal, and Brenda felt the vibration through the concrete floor. She did not move. The door stopped at 6 inches, a perfect, familiar gap, and from the darkness inside, she heard a slow rattling exhale from the darkness under the door. A folded piece of paper slid out, crisp and white, and fluttered to a stop on the concrete. Brenda's hand shook as she bent down. Her fingers closed around the receipt, cold as dead skin. She straightened and aimed her flashlight. The handwritten ink read, "Rent for Unit B, -447. Paid in full 89.00 V. Hale." Behind her, the door rumbled down with a final clang, sealing the unit once more.
The rent for this month. He's paying me, just like Halpern said.
She walked back to the office, her footsteps echoing in the empty hall. The receipt heavy in her hand. She laid the receipt in the center of the front desk, not hidden, but in plain sight for Halpern to find in the morning. The ink seemed to darken under the desk light, the signature curving like a living thing.
I've accepted it. I am part of this now. There's no going back.
She did not lock the receipt away. She left it where it could be seen, completing the transaction that had hung over her for 40 nights. The next night, the clock pushed past 2:33 a.m. into perfect silence. No alarm, no flickering sensor, no door.
It's done. He took my answer. I am past the test.
When morning came, Mr. Halpern called her into his office before she could even pour a coffee. Without a word, he slid a white envelope across the desk. Inside, $200 in crisp bills.
The previous attendant lasted 3 years longer, because she did the same thing you did last night. Vincent Hale's family never paid a dime after he disappeared, but the receipts started coming on their own. We simply honored them. It's a lease from beyond, Miss Cotton. As long as the payments keep coming, you'll be left in peace.
She nodded slowly, the truth settling into her bones. She was now the keeper of the arrangement, like Marlene before her.
So, this is my life now, tied to a dead man's rent.
She took the envelope and walked out, her footsteps heavier than they had been in weeks, bound by a secret she would never speak. At the office door, Brenda stopped and turned back. A question she hadn't dared to voice burned in her throat.
If the unit is sealed, and the rent keeps coming, why haven't you ever opened it? Why not just look inside?
Because the door won't open for anyone. B, -447, has never shown up on an auction list, never flagged for non-payment. It protects itself if you try to force it open. Or if you stop accepting the payments, the arrangement breaks. And I can't promise what happens to you then.
He paused, letting the weight of his words settle. It's a relationship, Miss Cotton, and Vincent Hale has been a good tenant. Brenda left the office without another word. She sat at her desk and stared at the security monitor, where B-447's door remained closed.
It's just a door. But behind it, something is still breathing, still watching.
She caught her own reflection in the dark glass of the monitor. She looked older than she had 40 nights ago.
I am bound to this place now. As long as the rent comes, I am safe. But safe looks a lot like being trapped.
She folded her hands on the desk, the receipt from the night before still lying where she had placed it. An unspoken covenant. The months that followed settled into a strange, functional rhythm. The alarms on B-447 never triggered again. When a new overnight hire started, Brenda trained him on the monitors, the logbooks, and the quiet rules of the facility.
And don't worry about the B corridor late at night. Nothing down there needs your attention.
The young man looked at her as if she had just told him the building was haunted, then shrugged it off as veteran eccentricity.
I sounded just like Halpern. I am the one passing on the warnings now.
That night, she dreamed again of Unit B-447. But this time, the door was rolled fully open, and a soft amber light spilled out. From the warmth, a voice not threatening, but grateful, whispered, "Thank you." She woke in her own bed, the dream vivid. For the first time in months, she wasn't afraid.
He just wanted to be recognized, to be a tenant, not a ghost, and I gave him that.
She dressed for her shift, a new sense of duty settling over her. She was now the steward of a quiet little prison that paid its own way. 5 years had reshaped her. The manager's badge hung from her belt, gray strands threaded through her hair, but her gaze was steady. A family came in one afternoon, the father tracing a finger over the facility map. He tapped the B corridor.
That unit? Permanently reserved. Family lease held for decades.
The father nodded, his curiosity satisfied by the bland answer. He didn't see the flicker in her eyes. Later, during her silent rounds, she walked down the B corridor. The door of Unit 447 waited like a patient old friend. Above her, the motion sensor pulsed red, 2 quick blinks, then fell dark, as if offering a silent greeting.
Not a ghost, not a haunting, just a tenant who pays on time.
She smiled faintly and continued her rounds, her flashlight beams sweeping the quiet concrete without a tremor. Back in the office, she opened the logbook and wrote in the date, the entry a simple dash under the column for B-447. Another month, undisturbed.
The rent always gets paid, and I'll be here as long as it does.
Late into the night, Brenda pulled on her coat for the final sweep. The corridor lay still as held breath. She paused beside Unit B-447, resting her palm flat against the corrugated metal. It was cold, but beneath her touch, a faint, rhythmic thrum pulsed, steady as a sleeping heart.
See you next month, Vincent.
The door did not move. Instead, a soft amber light welled from the gap underneath, spreading across the concrete like spilled tea. The glow pulsed once, gently, as if in answer, then slowly receded, drawing back under the door, like a retreating tide. She pulled her hand away, the metal silent once more. The corridor felt no colder than before. It felt, if anything, a fraction more peaceful. The camera held on the closed door, as the last trace of amber vanished. The fluorescent strips above flickered once, then steadied in dim, cold blue. The motion sensor light overhead blinked a final red dot, then went dark. Nothing tripped it, and yet it seemed to acknowledge her passing. The hallway returned to its endless waiting. Somewhere inside Unit B, negative 447, a receipt lay folded, ready for the next month, the next attendant, the next quiet covenant. The rent always gets paid. The door never opens, and the secret remains.